Now, we take a look at the Italian with c3, d4 takes, check, knight c3, and the immediate capture of the knight. This is an overcommitment by black, and as we already saw in the previous recording, giving us the bishop generally is not going to lead to very good things. So we take. Now, look, if they castle at this point, you can castle, in theory, because it becomes what you just looked at, but in a different move order, right? Does that make sense? In the previous one, it was castles, castles, then they took. But if they play takes, and then castle, well, that doesn't, now you just do this. Now you have all the benefits of the position minus the disadvantage of the pawn, and you have bishop d3 and all the attacking stuff. But I'm going to assume they go here, and we play this move d5. You may be tempted to castle in this position. Again, the problem is that if black successfully takes your pawn and plays d5, you've messed everything up. So you have to go d5. And just like last time, when both kings were castled, now we have to take a look at a position where the kings are not castled. All right, black again has two moves. Knight a5, knight e7. As always, this is going to be the slightly more defensive move. Here, because we've never castled, I'm going to go queen d4, which last time made a little bit of sense, but, g7 was defended in that position. Knight f6, and now we go bishop g5, and black has some serious problems. Black has problems here because we will, first of all, after like knight g6, castles, we have all of this kind of h4, h5 stuff like we had last time. But the position is actually quite similar. I actually have it here. Look, d5, knight e7. I mean, queen d4 here is not a ridiculous move, but I like rook e1. And, if you get to this position, you can't play rook e1. And if you castle, there is no guarantee they castle. If you castle here and they castle, yeah, okay, play rook e1. But as you can see, black never castled, so I kind of have to give you, different ways of playing the position. I just like this prospect of developing all of the pieces. Even some of you might be adventurous. Castle the king that way. There's a little bit more empty space, but by not castling the king side way, you can actually push some pawns forward. And here you're always creating some very unpleasant things for black. And if knight a5, yeah, the same position, black, again, has several moves. We know this one is just a bit too dangerous. And black's in serious trouble here. They can play check and go here. But after bishop b2, it's just time to resign. Rook e1 is there. Bishop takes g7. The knights are not exactly lost. Like, black can play here. But after this, and check... And here, I think you have mate somewhere. I mean, it looks like mate. If knight e7, you take the queen. If f6, you take with the bishop, and then you take the queen. Yeah, this ain't it. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is not the way to play. The point here is that, knight e4, d5, knight a5, you come back, and they have to move. Something like this. Take, queen a4. This is actually from the previous recording. It's called a transposition. We reached it a slightly different way. That's because there's nothing really else that they can do. Knight a5 is a feel-good move by black, but that knight just dies there. I mean, it does not do anything useful. This is a much shorter recording because it's a much more forcing option by black, and like I've already said, taking on e4 and you playing d5 totally takes the game out of black's hands and hands it back to us. And as long as you remember that if they're taking on e4, you're playing d5, not like queen e2, because as long as they play knight and pawn, you've messed up. There's no position where we've allowed both of those moves. We're always playing d5 ourselves. Yeah, bishop c3 will happen in a good amount of games. The best move, of course, is to take without giving up the bishop, which we already looked at. But as long as you remember d5 and all of these different moments, then you'll be great. Now we have to move on to some of the other stuff.